Okay, since I woke up this morning and chose violence, this is what I want to do. This is the mad motherfucking wisdom that I want to drop for everybody who is spiritual or interested in spirituality or wants to learn anything when it comes to any religion or any spirituality. Doesn't matter what it is. It can be Buddhism, it can be Hinduism, it can be Voodoo, it can be Wicca, it can be Kabbalah, it can be Gnostic Christianity. It doesn't matter. There are several things that I have found over the past 25 years that I have been involved in spirituality. I had my spiritual awakening when I was 15 years old. And I am 45 years old. Okay? So I've been on the spiritual journey for a long time. And I'm going to tell you what I have found you need in order to get to where you want to be spiritually, because I am where I want to be spiritually. I am very happy with myself. I love myself. I love my spirits. I love what I do. There's nothing about my life I would change. But it took me a long time to get here. If you are interested in learning about spirituality, this is what you need to do. The first thing you need to do is read books by everybody. You need to read books, you need to study, you need to learn. If you don't like to read, don't try to practice any of this shit. Sit down with your Kindle or your audiobook or any books that you can get for free to download online, or buy a subscription to audio.com so you can listen to books if you don't like actually reading books, and listen to as many different books as possible or read as many books as possible, because you need to have a broad understanding of history, archaeology, philosophy, linguistics. If you want to practice magic, magic is a multidisciplined area of expertise that requires you to understand a lot of different things about the world, especially history, okay? And you have to approach these things without any prejudice. You can't approach any of these things with any kind of prejudice at all. You have to clear your mind and be willing to read and learn and study things, even if you don't necessarily like the person who wrote the book, because you can always learn something, even if something is wrong. It's like when you go to a spiritualist and get a reading. They might give you a horrible reading that's completely inaccurate, doesn't make any sense. You can walk away from that reading and you can be like, okay, that was a bad reading. I'm going to learn something from that reading. You're always learning, because life is like a school. We're always learning. The next thing you want to do, you want to tap into your ancestors. You want to know who your ancestors are. 50% of what you're going to be interested in is probably going to be stuff that comes down through your ancestors, because you are your ancestors. And there is ancestral memory that runs through your blood, that runs through your veins. Your DNA is a link, it's a chain that binds you to every single person who ever came before you, all the way back to the beginning of creation, all the way back to the womb of God. So you should know who your ancestors are and where they come from, so that you can start an ancestor veneration practice that's as simple as putting out a glass of water and a white candle and thanking your highly elevated ancestors, okay? Because they were real people. They lived, they died, and whether or not you believe in a spiritual world or not, when you honor your ancestors, you are honoring yourself. And if you believe in a spiritual world and you believe that the ancestors come back, ancestor veneration acts as a conduit to call those highly elevated ancestral spirits to come back and reincarnate in your bloodline. That is why we practice ancestor veneration. We practice ancestor veneration because of those who came before us, who are elevated, and those who are coming back, who are elevated. And we stand at the middle. We stand at the crossroads of that, which is why in Puerto Rican Spiritism and Cuban Spiritism, we put a crucifix in the glass of water. The glass of water is kulunga, okay? It's the ancestral waters. And the metal crucifix represents the crossroads between the living and the dead, okay? That comes from Congo spirituality. You need to pray. You need to pray and you need to journal. You need to inflame thyself with prayer and really, really, really open yourself up to the creative energies of the universe with humility. Humility is very important. Realizing and recognizing that you're a child of God, and if you want to be spiritual, that you want to be taught by the Creator. So you have to open yourself up and you have to pray with humility. You have to be willing to acknowledge your faults. You have to be willing to ask for forgiveness when you make mistakes, okay? That has nothing to do with Christianity. That has nothing to do with the concept of sin, okay? Even as far back as ancient Egypt, they had the concept that after you die, at some point in time, you're going to have a reckoning for the way you lived your life. Okay? The concept of the afterlife and judgment isn't just the rapture. It's not just Christianity. It goes back very, very, very far in our history. Okay? Praying is important. Meditating is the opposite of prayer. When you pray, you are putting out into the universe, you're putting out to the ancestor spirits, to the saints, the angels, the Loa, the Orisha, whatever it is that you pray to, you're putting your information out there for them. When you meditate, you sit and you listen. That's how you get the messages back. These are important. That's the foundation. You have to journal. You have to write down your feelings. You have to contemplate what it is that you do. Pay attention to your dreams. In your journal, if you have dreams, write them down because your dreams matter. If you want to expand your psychic abilities, do dream work. Dream work is the gateway that opens up a lot of psychic abilities. Now, if you're going to move specifically into witchcraft, hoodoo, magic, whatever, root work, whatever, you have to study divination. You have to be able to find a way to get answers from the spiritual world. Tarot, oracle, cards are really, really great. They're basic. They're easy to learn. So you need some form of divination. And last but not least, you need to have some kind of spiritual routine where you're actively cleansing yourself and protecting yourself and banishing negative energies that could come into your life. You are your environment. You are the people you associate with. You are the people that you allow into your home. The people, places, and things that are around you matter. And if you don't like where you're at, stop associating with the people you associate with. Stop going to the places that you don't need to be and change your environment. Singing, dancing, practicing yoga, physical exercise is also spiritual because you can be mindful even if you're walking on a treadmill because your body is a temple. It's a temple to the divine. This is what I think is crucial. And regular practice, a little bit every single day for a long time goes a long way. You don't have to do all this stuff. You don't have to spend all this money. You don't need any motherfucking initiations to do anything. A little bit of spirituality every single day for a long time is going to get you to where you want to be through prayer, meditation, journaling, singing, dancing, and ancestor veneration. 99.9% of everything I do in my spirituality is all about ancestors. My African ancestors, my indigenous ancestors, European ancestors, and even my Mesoamerican ancestors. So I just felt like going off because I am sick of seeing bad information on TikTok, bad actors playing out spiritual roles as elders on this app. This has been a motherfucking public service announcement. Y'all have a good day now. Okay, bye-bye.